Hey guys, Lindsay here and welcome to another review. Today we're going to be continuing on from looking at the different albums, studio albums of Tom Petty and his work, of course, with his famous backing band, the Heartbreakers. Today we are looking at their fifth album, the Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, their fifth studio release, entitled Long After Dark. This was released in 1982, and as I believe, there was only really a couple of singles released, I believe. I'm fairly sure that the big one, the one that really got the most kind of airplay, and the only one that I think Tom really performed live that much, which of course was You Got Lucky. I think Straight Into Darkness and maybe one other were released, but if so, they didn't do very well, or they were radio singles only. But I mean, generally, this album isn't really mentioned too much, especially within the community. It's certainly not mentioned even as much as its predecessor, Hard Promises, which isn't mentioned that much. It's usually overshadowed by, obviously, the big ones, Damn the Torpedoes, the one that came after this, their sixth album, Southern Accents, and so on. Actually, in the amazing 4-hour Running Down the Dream documentary, if you like Tom Petty, I really suggest checking that documentary out. It's on YouTube actually at the moment, or on Amazon Prime, places like that. Then it does actually, Tom Petty doesn't talk too much about this, but I believe this is an album that had production as well from Jimmy Iovine, which is really great to see. And yeah, I mean, I think he did a great job of it. It's definitely one of my favourite Tom Petty albums. I mean, actually not many of his albums do I actually have on vinyl. I have a lot more of his on CD. I tend to collect CD. I don't tend to get that much vinyl, but this was on fairly cheap. This was on about £12 on Amazon. It tends to go around there, whereas the CD actually tends to go for around about £15. A lot of the time it's more expensive than the vinyl, but it's a really great album, and I think it's got a lot of songs on there that really should be more well known. So yep, today I've got the 2016, I believe, reissue remaster LP, as well as the CD. So the first thing we're going to look at is the CD, and then we'll look at the vinyl, and then we'll look at the album just in its entirety. So let me just take this out of the way. There we are. So this, of course, is the CD of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Long After Dark. It's, of course, got the, I would say iconic, but I guess it's not massively well known. I'll just try and get there. Hopefully you can see that, at least somewhat. The cover, which is, of course, Tom Petty. It's not really nice red cover of him holding a guitar, as a few people I know who I know kind of say, oh, he's holding the guitar wrong, which I'm fairly sure Tom Petty probably knew. And it's got this really nice, very 80s, different triangles with like splinters of white light, it's sort of backing the logo of Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. Of course, it doesn't have the stereotypical Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers logo, but I think the only actual album of his that really used the heart with the flying V, sorry, I think really was his debut. After that, it just had his name in those different fonts. On the back, this again is just the standard CD from Amazon, I believe, the remaster. It has this lovely picture of the band. So of course you've got Harry Epstein, possibly the first album for the Heartbreakers he was featured on. I'm not entirely sure if he was on Hard Promises or not, so you have to bear with me on that. Stan Lynch, Tom Petty himself, of course, Ben Montench and Mike Campbell, which is really great to see. And then obviously sideways it just says Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Long After Dark. So opening this case up, what do we get? We get the CD. It's a really nice standard black CD, which of course is the track listing on. Taking that out, he says it's quite tough. All we have is this plain white logo with the inlay on the back, and then we have this booklet inside of which I believe are lyrics and pictures of the band. Doesn't want to come out, but I'm fairly sure that's what's inside. And it just says, quite simply, produced by Tom Petty and Jimmy Iovine. I can't remember exactly how you pronounce it. Engineered by Shelley Yakis, remix engineers Shelley Yakis and Don Smith. And they did a really good job. I mean, it really is a great album, I have to admit. But it's a really nice CD. It's quite typical as what you'd expect to find on CD. Putting that to one side, of course, we then have the LP itself. So, of course, it's got the really nice cover on the front. Apologies, my camera keeps going out of focus, so if it does go out of focus, I do humbly apologise. On the back, it's really nice. It's a really nice, slightly glossy cover, so it does leave quite a few fingerprint marks, but it is a really nice cover, I have to say. On the back, we've got this lovely, shiny silver, with the same picture, of course, that is on the back of the CD. But also it's shinier, and it seems to be slightly brighter. They seem to have slightly toned down the brightness for the CD version, at least somewhat. And it's got the track listing, except instead of running along the bottom, of course, it's got it there, and it says, obviously, side 1, we have one story town, You Got Lucky, Deliver Me, Change of Heart, Finding Out. Side 2, we've got We Stand a Chance, Straight Into Darkness, The Same Old You, Between Two Worlds, and A Wasted Life. So if I'm not mistaken, I believe it's simply 10 tracks. It's a really nice album. And we're going to go in. And it has the producers and engineers and remix engineers down at the bottom. So, this is, of course, the LP. Let's open up and see what we find. Hopefully, a vinyl album. So, here we go. So, right. Opening up, we have this very nice colour, I have to say. I guess kind of mint greenish aqua kind of colour, and it's got, again, as you can see, the different triangles, and then the beams almost of splintering white lines, and then Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, Light After Dark. It's so 80s, and remember, this was released in the early 80s, but there's definitely an 80s feel. There's definitely a slightly popish or poppier feel, slightly I don't know what you'd say, slightly 80s, I guess. But quite curiously, this is one of the albums. I've only got a few of the Tom Petty albums, vinyl, that, full stop. But this is, I think, the only one I possibly have that doesn't have 2 sleeves. In a lot of vinyl, so for example, looking at Full Moon Fever, we can see that there are 2 covers. There's the standard white cover, and there's also the sort of custom cover, which is the native Indian style Tom Petty cover. And I've got that. I think that's pretty much the same on Southern Accents, and what is the other? I think that's also the same on the Straight Wide Open, whereas this only has the 1 sleeve. However, it is a very nice sleeve indeed. So of course the back of this has the lyric sheet on it. So it's got, again, it's got all the band members: Tom Petty, vocals and guitar, Mike Campbell, guitars and organ on We Stand a Chance, Ben Wontench, keyboard, instruments and vocals, Stan Lynch, drums and vocals, Harry Epstein, bass, a guitar made out of a fish, bass guitar and vocals, Phil Jones, percussion. So he clearly did some percussion as well as Stan Lynch, or different kinds of percussion, obviously. And then Ron Blair, who did the bass on Between Two Worlds. So presumably Ron Blair obviously wasn't in the band at this point. And yeah, clearly they did it in early. They'd clearly done that bass line, or that bass part earlier, or he came in just for that, I don't know. So we've got side 1, which has got all the different song titles in red, and then side 2, which has got all the song titles in green. So, obviously, quite simply, as you'd expect, inside we have the 180G pressing on this really nice label. I don't know if you can quite see that. You cannot. So, again, it's got the Backstreet Records label, which, again, is also a bit 80s indeed. And, I mean, again, it's very nice. It's 180G, as all the 2016 reissue ones are, in terms of LPs, which is really nice. So it's really nice and thick, and it's that audiophile quality in it. It really is very nice. So, what we're going to do is we're going to obviously put this back in here. Obviously, just fits in like this. And again, this, I think, along with all the other new vinyl I've got, and I think most of the vinyl, I think possibly all the vinyl that comes out of Amazon's vinyl store, has the Back to Black or whatever download vouch thing with it, so you can get the MP3 files as well, but I don't need that because I've got the CD. So, straighten this up. What do we think of the Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers Light After Dark? Well, the actual packaging is obviously very nice. It's a really nice cover. It's a really great picture of Tom. It's done very nicely. It's clearly got a very 80s feel, which reflects the songs inside. I'm going to quickly take this so I have a look at the track listing, because that's how professional I am. So side 1, we've got a one-story town. A very nice, very good guitar here, very nice opening. Probably not the best opening they could have picked. I think something like You Got Lucky or Straight Into Darkness, Finding Out, Change of Heart would have probably been a better opener, but it's still a very good opener. It's a very big rocker. It's fast-paced, and it just sounds really good, I have to admit. Number 2, You Got Lucky. Actually, one of my least favourite tracks, which is quite interesting given the fact that it was the big hit single from it. It's interesting that a lot of this album deals with seemingly failed relationships. I mean, I'll go over it. I'll go over them all in a minute. But You Got Lucky is. I don't think it's Tom meaning to be vitriolic. I think it's in this relationship. This girl is starting to take liberties or isn't giving him the attention he deserves or whatever. And as he kind of rightly says, you got lucky when you found me. Or when I found you, sorry. And it is still a very good song. But I have to admit, if you like You Got Lucky, I think you got like a lot of the other tracks on here, possibly even more. Number 3 is Deliver Me. Very nice guitar, very good vocals from Petty here, I have to admit. It's just a really good song. It's one of the better ones, I think. One of the best ones, I think, on this album. Number 4, Change of Heart. I think this was possibly a single, I think. Definitely one of the best ones on this album. I mean, it really is just a great track. And again, it kind of deals, with this girl who's a change of heart on him. Number 5 is Finding Out. Very fast-paced song, one of my favourites on this. It's just a great song through and through. Number 6, We Stand a Chance. Again, very nice on here. It's not as one of the most rocky tracks on here, but I still think it's really good. Number 7, Straight Into Darkness, one of my personal favourites, one of the best songs Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers have ever done. So good. Such a damaging, almost dark kind of tone to it, but I think at the end there's a slight twist where he kind of says, the strong carry on in terms of making love work, which is very inspirational and hopeful. Number 8, The Same Old You. Number 9, Between Two Worlds. Again, 2 very good rock songs. And number 10, A Wasted Life, which is a slower one, but also a great track. Kind of like similar to how Built to Last closes such a good rock album that is, of course, Into the Great Wide Open. I mean, they're all really good tracks, but there's definitely this theme of Tom Petty and his love going wrong, or if not personally, then, his songs showing that. I mean, You Got Lucky is definitely that kind of thing. Change of Heart. Finding Out is, finding out about, I think it's, about somebody else, or she doesn't love him. Number 6, We Stand a Chance, is actually surprisingly hopeful. Number 7, Stranger Darkness. Number 8, The Same Old You. I mean, definitely. This is what these are key themes. But I mean, it really is a great album. I know it's a different. I know of the first Heartbreakers albums to pick, it's definitely one of the more out there ones. But I think it's a great album, and I think that anyone who likes Tom Petty or classic rock in general, I think really needs to have their eyes opened to a really great album. So hopefully that's kind of a good review. If there's any questions you have, please leave them in the comments. This has been Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers, a review of their 5th album, released in 1982 on Backstreet Records, Long After Dark. I think it's a great album. If I had to give it a rating, I'd probably give it a 9 out of 10. They're solid rockers, and I think there are some definite standout tracks here. Standout tracks being Strange Darkness, Change of Heart, Finding Out. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed that. Lindsay out.